It has been over a week since the last NBA game was played, but tonight at 9 p.m., Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers tips off. And today on the And1 Analytics podcast, we're going to go through the matchups that matter. I am your host, Alex West. I have special guest, my own brother, Chaz West, who's going to come on and help us talk through the numbers. It's a little bit of a longer podcast, going to top out about an hour again, but listen to it in chunks because there's a lot of good information I think you'll enjoy. And it's not going to be Brent taking us away today. It's going to be John Tesh with Round Ball Rock, the old NBA on NBC theme. So take us away, John. It is time to do an NBA Finals preview, and I have brought in resident expert, my own dear brother, Chaz West. Chaz, how are you today?
Pretty good. Resident expert's kind of a stretch for me.
You don't think you're a resident expert?
Maybe more of like a visiting expert. But
you don't? Oh, okay, because you don't.
Definitely not a resident expert.
Gotcha.
It's good to be here. I'm excited. So.
This is your first time on the podcast.
It is. On any podcast.
This is your first time on any podcast?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty exciting moment. You ready to jump right into the finals preview?
I am.
All right. Let's talk about how Golden State got to the finals. Their path to the finals is Portland 4-0. They beat Utah 4-0, and they beat San Antonio 4-0 for a perfect 12-0 going into the NBA Finals. You have any thoughts on that? Is there anything even worth talking about in all this?
That's what I was going to say. I wouldn't really call it a path to the finals. It was
a swath of destruction.
One competitive half, really throughout the entire finals.
I thought that Utah was going to be a lot better than they were. I mean, I really liked Utah's matchup with Hayward and then with Gobert, and then just maybe Gobert wasn't healthy or whatever, but it was just not interesting at all.
Yeah, I think Gobert getting hurt in the Clippers series, the series before that, kind of hurt Utah a lot. He's a big part of their defense.
Defensive Player of the Year candidate, like no doubt, would have been.
I think so.
Healthy. Gobert is going to be an impact player.
Yeah, and I think that hurt Utah a lot. Not that it would have, they still probably wouldn't even have won a game.
But it would have been better.
Maybe there would have been two competitive halves for the Warriors. Yeah.
Do you think San Antonio really had a puncher's chance with a healthy Kawhi, or do you think it was probably an aberration that they were up as far as they were?
Yeah. I think that they probably would have taken game one.
Okay.
And then maybe one other game. They wouldn't have won the series by any means, but definitely at least made it interesting to watch, I guess.
Yeah, I think
at least taking one or two games made people at least want to tune in still.
Yeah, well, at least hold us over so we don't have a week without basketball.
Right.
Good job, San Antonio. All right, so nothing interesting there. Let's move on from that. That's not good radio. Let's talk about Cleveland's path to the finals. Also not good radio. They beat Indiana 4-0. They beat Toronto 4-0. And they beat Boston 4-1 for a 12-1 record heading into the finals. Anything interesting there besides Marcus Smart is a top 25 player in the league?
That's what first I just wanted to say you're welcome, Cleveland, for your one loss.
Yeah.
And even in this series, even though Cleveland lost a game, there was not really any competition at all. They blew out Boston the first two games. I mean, ridiculous.
LeBron was I thought he was a plus 46 in Game 2. That's the most ridiculous stat I saw during the playoffs. He was plus 46 in Game 2 versus Boston.
I think I've played 2K and I even had a plus 46.
Yeah.
So that's insane.
You don't think?
And then,
I thought Game 4 was pretty competitive. I mean, they ended up winning. Cleveland ended up winning by 14. They won 112-98. But I thought that was a pretty competitive game. I thought Boston definitely showed something going into their offseason.
Yeah, I think Boston I know we're focused on Cleveland here, but I think Boston looked really good. Um, really better after Isaiah Thomas left. They showed that they're not the one-man team everybody thought they were.
You're not going to play they're better off with Isaiah Thomas, right?
I'm not trying to. No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, because I think if anything, it showed how injured Isaiah Thomas was. From how good he was in Game 2 of the Washington series, in the 53-point game, versus how ineffective he was in the first 2 games of the Cleveland series. I think it was a pretty severe injury. And I think, the Celtics probably were better off without an injured Isaiah Thomas. But
yeah, no, definitely not. If Isaiah Thomas is healthy, the Celtics are not better off. I do think, really, kind of, I guess, since he got injured, the Celtics showed that they were more than just Isaiah Thomas. Avery Bradley played really well throughout the playoffs. Marcus Smart played extremely well. And then, a couple big games from Olynyk. And other people scattered in there. Horford, I thought, played pretty well. Played up to the amount of money he's getting paid.
We're not doing the Celtics podcast, which we will do one day. But I really thought there were a lot of good performances. I thought Bradley made himself some money, showing that he's a very capable two-way player. And then I thought Horford lived up to the contract that they paid for him. If the market was $17 million a year for Timofey Mozgov, then he earned his 23 or 24 or whatever he made this year.
Yeah, $5 million better than Timofey Mozgov.
I think.
Yeah, sorry to get us off on a Celtics tangent. So,
not a Celtics podcast. Anything? Are you at all interested in the Indiana-Toronto series? I mean, I don't. Is any of this worth talking about?
No. Who could have seen Toronto getting swept in the second round?
All right, whatever. We're done with that. End of bad radio to good radio. Let's talk about LeBron.
Okay.
LeBron is averaging 32.5 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists on 56% shooting, 42% from 3. An overall impressive and efficient playoffs from a guy in his 13th season. What are your thoughts on LeBron going into the finals?
So we were talking the other day about LeBron, and honestly, when coming into this year, I thought that LeBron, was, and I'm kind of even embarrassed to say it, but I thought LeBron was past his prime. I thought we'd start, we wouldn't see the crash of LeBron, but we would start seeing him go downhill gradually. But like you've mentioned a lot on the podcast, he's only gotten better. And now looking back on me thinking that it's kind of ridiculous, but I think LeBron is playing the best basketball that we've seen him play in a while.
I think it's the best basketball LeBron has played maybe ever. I mean, this might be the best iteration of LeBron. Because I haven't seen him play this well. Yeah, maybe ever. This is like the 92 Jordan versus 96 Jordan. When you talk about what's the other great iteration of LeBron, probably 2013, the year they beat the Spurs. That's probably apex physical LeBron. And now here we are 4 years later, much like MJ, talking about apex mental LeBron, a guy who just plays an efficient game, who knows how to take over when he needs to, let other guys take over when he needs to. And I think that maturity is really been an impressive part. I mean, for a guy in his 13th season, you expect that kind of maturity, but to sort of shift gears and be more efficient and be more effective in year 13 is just an incredibly, incredibly impressive thing to me.
Yeah, he's not, like you said, 2013, 2012, I think that's pinnacle of LeBron just bullying his way to the hoop.
Right.
And just tearing the rims down, but now he honestly plays old man ball almost. I mean, he can still dunk.
No. I mean I think that's very right.
I'm not saying he's not athletic anymore, because he is, but I think now he sort of plays. I guess if there was an NBA version of old man basketball,
like he's playing at the rec league right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's up bombing trays in the rec league. Yeah, no, I totally understand what you mean, because it is a game that is not necessarily built on the back of athleticism, but more on the back of being a great passer, being an effective rebounder, being a very efficient scorer, and sizing up matchups and determining where he can insert himself most effectively. I think is the thing that has impressed me the most about LeBron.
and that's another thing is I think this year is he has put himself on an echelon with, to me, Larry Bird, Magic, I guess, just of the passes that he's thrown this year. He's always been he has a very high basketball IQ. He's always been able to see the floor, but I think this year, and this goes along with him playing old man basketball, which is weird to say about LeBron, but
the stats actually back that up. This is his highest.
Sees the floor.
Yeah, this is his highest assist year. 8.7 during the regular season is the high for his career. His previous high was in 2009-2010, his last season in Cleveland, at 8.6. So I think the numbers sort of back up that. And that doesn't even begin to describe the quality of passes that LeBron has been throwing.
And that's why I say, especially coming from a Celtics fan, if somebody's comparing him to Larry Bird, who was probably the best, in my opinion, the best one of the best passers of all time, and he threw you never knew when he was going to throw the ball. He threw it right where he wanted it, and he was an amazing passer. And yeah, I think LeBron is on that level of just having that ball control, seeing the floor better than anybody in the league, and just getting the ball where he wants it. You can't even describe it really the way he passes, but.
Yeah, the numbers certainly don't do it justice. I mean, obviously LeBron's the most important player in this series, and obviously he's the best player in the league. So there's a lot to talk about to him, but let's kind of switch gears. Let's talk about the guy on the other side, the small forward on the other side. Let's talk about Durant and his playoffs. He's 25.2 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 3.7 assists on 55, 41, and 87 shooting splits. Like, that's a pretty damn impressive stat line.
Oh yeah, to me right now, if LeBron is the best player in the game, well, I want to say Kevin Durant is LeBron is in without a doubt the best player in the game, and I think right now, if you take all the players the way they're playing at this moment, Kevin Durant is without a doubt the second best player in the game right now.
You think he's better? You think he's better than Kawhi?
Well, Kawhi, right now, yeah, because Kawhi's ankle's bad.
Oh, okay.
But,
you're including bad ankles in this?
But no, that's not what I meant. I think in the Spurs series, he became the second. I think Kawhi was, and then it's hard to judge because Kawhi
was injured.
Obviously sat out the rest of the series.
Yeah.
But I think in that series is when Kevin Durant became the right now second best player in the game. I'm not saying during the season he was the second best player in the game, but right now, I guess for the playoffs, he has been, and it's like I said, it is hard to judge because Kawhi was injured.
I don't necessarily disagree with you about him sort of evolving into the second best player in the game. He has flirted with it at times throughout his career, but I think the game that I zero in on is Game 3 of the Utah series, when Steph Curry and Klay Thompson they went like a combined 4 for 22, I think, and just were not playing well. And Durant had 38 points and 13 rebounds in that Game 3, and he assumed the mantle of, if we're in trouble, if things aren't going well, I'm the go-to guy who's going to get buckets. And I think that's what's really impressed me about Durant is his effectiveness at scoring the basketball, which I know is a very it's very funny to say, like, oh, that guy can score well, he's a good player. But when it comes down to the playoffs, when defenses tighten up, I think being a great scorer who can get his own shot is an incredibly important thing for teams to have. And the Warriors have two of those guys, but I don't think there's anybody in the league, LeBron included, who can get their shot better than Kevin Durant can do it right now.
Yeah, and I was just looking just at scoring numbers themselves. Kevin Durant during the regular season was shooting 53% from the floor.
Yeah.
And then 37% three-point range. And then just during the playoffs, like you were talking about, he's become that I'm going to be the go-to scorer. And he's upped his scoring percentage to 56%, and his free throw percentage is at 42 now. It doesn't seem like a big jump.
Well, that's the thing. When you start to talk about, like, those small increases are big in games because,
Right.
a 5-point increase. He's up from 37.5 to 41.7 on his 3-point percent shootage. That 4% increase can be 2 or 3 points in a game. That can make a big difference.
And not that it's 2 or 3 points has mattered in the sweep, the playoffs, but in I guess in this series if it needs to happen, then Kevin Durant has established himself as the guy that's going to do it.
All right, so we've talked about the two big dogs in this. Let's go position by position. Let's talk about the matchups and tell me who you got in each position. Starting with the point guards, who's the better player, or who would you rather have, Kyrie Irving or Steph Curry?
This is the toughest matchup to me, I think. You want to say Steph because he's a 2-time MVP.
Okay.
And are we talking if we're dreaming? I guess building our dream team from
no.
No,
we're gonna draft him in a minute, but I think
okay.
I'm asking in this series on this team.
Oh man,
who do you like better?
This one's tough to me.
All right, I'll tell you mine, and then I'll give you.
Okay.
Let me give you a second to think about it. So, I'll take Steph Curry because for one specific reason, I think Steph Curry's a better off-ball player. I think Kyrie's probably a little bit better of a scorer. Not much, but he can get to the rim a little more effectively than Steph can. Steph's probably the better three-point shooter. Their defense is a wash because neither of them play it. And so it really comes down to being able to create for other players on the team. And that's something Kyrie Irving has not impressed me with. His creation for other players and his effectiveness off the ball aren't nearly what Steph Curry's are. Steph Curry can run through screens. He can catch passes. He can be a catch and shoot, almost a shooting guard when Durant runs the offense or when Draymond Green runs the offense. And Kyrie is ball dominant, and so his effectiveness in a game is predicated on how much he has the ball in his hands. And so for that reason, and I think it's very close. I think you're totally right that this is the closest one. Although I think there's going to be a pretty good discussion about Kevin Love and Draymond Green. But I do think that this is a very close one. But I got to give the slight edge to Steph Curry in this one.
Yeah, I'll agree with you just because their defense is, I don't know why we would even mention that.
Yeah, they don't play defense.
Steph is just he's I guess more of a pure. He can score from anywhere. He can score with the ball. He can score without the ball. So I guess I'll take Steph on this. Steph is one of the best. He's to me one of the best. This is not what he's known for, but one of the best in the game at coming off screens and being a catch and shoot player.
I think that's something he's become more of with Durant running the offense more, and I think he's very effective in that role.
He is. So I guess I'll take Steph Curry in what I think is going to be the closest matchup.
And on the flip side of it, I also think, while I think Steph Curry might be more effective, I think Kyrie Irving is the most important player in this series because I think they have to have big performances night in and night out. Because they're the underdogs, I think that Kyrie's performance night in and night out is probably the most important on the Cavaliers because you're going to get an even performance from LeBron every game. And so they also need big performances from Kyrie. So let's talk about shooting guards. I think this is probably an easy question. Would you rather have J.R. Smith or Klay Thompson?
J.R. Smith.
All right, next question.
Just kidding. No, I think we're both gonna say Klay Thompson there. He's obviously a phenomenal shooter, and he was a very underrated defender. I think people have caught on to how underrated he was. So now he's rated appropriately.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think Klay Thompson, is without a doubt there.
Do you have any residual worry about Klay? He's had a not too terrific postseason. He's 14 points. He's down from 22, so 8-point drop off in the playoffs. His shooting splits are way worse, shooting 36% from three. Do you have any residual worry about Klay Thompson going into it, or do you think it's something that with the layoff he's had time to correct?
Well, I think the layoff will help, but when you're the fourth best, debatable third or fourth best player on your team, and you have two perennial all-stars above you, your scoring is going to, and that happened in the regular season as well, your scoring is going to drop off. And then like we were talking, Kevin Durant has become the go-to guy. And I think that's taken more away from Klay. But I'm not worried about his shooting percentage or anything because Klay Thompson is the type of player where he can get hot at any moment. And like he's had what? I don't know how many ridiculous point quarters, 30-plus point quarters
he had that 37-point quarter back in the fall of this year in that 60-point game. So I mean, yeah, that kind of red hot shooting is good at any time.
He can get hot at any moment, and he does that. He hasn't had a 37-point quarter all the time, but I'm sure he's had plenty of 15s. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but he can get hot, and he stays hot when he gets hot. So I don't think his shooting is really that big of an issue. I think when he gets hot, he'll be there, and he'll be their guy for that game.
I think that's probably a pretty good estimation of what he is. He's a guy who can get hot. I mean, it's sort of a nice to have, but I think a big deal for him is his ability, as you alluded to a second ago, his ability to play defense. At that, Golden State's going to have to play LeBron in shifts. They're going to have to put Durant on him, put Thompson on him, put Draymond Green on him, put Andre Iguodala on him, put Sean Livingston on him. Even David West might take a turn. I think that's where Klay is going to have a big effect, is being able to guard LeBron, not necessarily effectively, but decently, and just start to wear him down and make him have to play less efficient and less effective than he has all these playoffs. But
it definitely is going to. I think that's his best. It's not the only reason I'm taking it, but I am definitely taking Klay Thompson for his defensive prowess. Yeah, like I said, he's not underrated anymore. But
no, not anymore. But I think he's appropriately rated.
Yeah, very very good defender. And that's the other thing I just thought of about his scoring is he doesn't need to score necessarily when playing behind Steph and Durant, but I think when Klay does get going, because I think there'll be a game in this series where Klay will get hot.
Yeah,
they've got to feed him for that game, because there's always, it seems like the past 2 years in the playoffs there's been a big game that Klay has had, and they've just fed him the rock, and then that's kept him hot.
That was game 6. Yeah, the game in Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals last year. So game 6 where they were up 3-2, and then Klay had that 17-point fourth quarter. And it's games like that. All right, small forwards. So we've got Curry on 1, Thompson on the 2. Let's talk about LeBron and Durant. I mean, I think we've already probably hashed this one out, that we would both take LeBron.
Yeah. If you're not taking the best player in the world.
Yeah, it's close, but it's also not close. I mean, there's definitely an argument for for Durant, but LeBron is so good that he's sort of a cut above anybody else in the league at this point.
Yeah, it's close as in it's 1 and 2, but then it's 1 is at the top of the mountain, and 2 is just finding his way up. I guess I was doing hands, but nobody can see me.
They can't see you. This is the largest gap. I mean, I feel like last year the gap was smaller, and I feel like for a long time the gap has been smaller between the best player in the league and the second best player in the league. I feel like this is a very wide gap here, but because LeBron had such a great year, that it was the gap between 1 and 2 in terms of best player in the league has widened a little bit, which is crazy to say at LeBron's age.
Well, yeah, and I think even last year in the finals we saw the 1-2 matchup, and it is crazy because LeBron was younger last year, and the matchup was so much closer than it is this year. It's just LeBron came out of he didn't come out of nowhere because he's LeBron James, but I don't think
nobody saw the increase or the quality. I mean, if you really want to set a moment, it dates back to Game 5 of last year in the finals, where he really started this transcendent run of, I'm the best player in the league, and everybody's going to damn well sit up and take notice.
Yeah. Was that the block game?
No, the block was in Game 7, but the Game 5 is the Draymond Green suspension game. He had a triple-double in that game, just they win. They go back to Cleveland, they win. They go back to Golden State in Game 7, and ever since then it's just been, all right, well, any question of having a discussion about who the best player in the league begins and ends with LeBron. And I think, honestly, that's a reason I give them a decent chance. I mean, you can't ever rule out the best player in the league, particularly, as I said, when the gap is that wide.
For sure. I think, and we discussed this, and I think to me, I think it's going to be a lot closer of a series than a lot of people. I know we'll get into this, but a lot closer of a series than a lot of people think, just because LeBron is LeBron, and not only is he LeBron this year, but he is 33 points a game in the playoffs. LeBron.
He's capital letters LeBron James.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Power forward. I think this is a very close one. I'll be interested. I'll let you go first and sort of cue in. But Kevin Love, Draymond Green, who do you like better in that one?
Regular season, I'm taking Draymond Green.
Okay.
But and we talked about this, but I know that the Celtics was a good matchup for Kevin Love. But that's the best basketball I think Kevin Love has played in Cleveland. I think that's the best basketball he's played since he left Minnesota. He's playing like he did then. And I think that Kevin Love right now is hot. And then Draymond can, you can run your offense through Draymond Green. You can't really run. You have to run your offense more for Kevin Love than you do run your offense through Kevin Love. But I think just with the way that both of those two are playing right now, I'm going to take Kevin Love.
All right, that's fair. I mean, I thought we would probably disagree on this one. But in case, just to throw this out here on what you're talking about, Kevin Love had an amazing conference finals. He scored 22 points a game, and he shot 53% from three. Like, that's unreal. And he also brought in 12.4 rebounds a game, which is just, like you said, the most impressive ball he's played in a long time. And ever since he's come to Cleveland, definitely. And if that kind of carries over, then yeah, I have to agree with you. He probably is the better player. But I'm going to go against you here, and I'm going to take Draymond. And it is the fact that Draymond is probably the Swiss Army knife of basketball players right now, outside of LeBron, because obviously everything is outside of LeBron. But Draymond is he can protect the rim, he can rebound, he can block shots, he can shoot three-pointers, he can run your offense. And I don't think there are a lot of – in baseball there's a term they call guys five-tool guys. And I think that's what I love about Draymond is perhaps he's not a better shooter than Love, but he is a good shooter, and he's a great passer. He doesn't make better outlet passes than Kevin Love, but nobody does.
No one does.
But he does everything so well and so effectively that he is the dog upstairs always wants to get on the podcast. He just lives to. Can you hear him?
You have to get him next week and talk about the finals.
He really has a lot of opinions on the finals. Yeah, he has a lot of opinions on the finals. But anyway, that's my Draymond. That's my Draymond outlook.
I agree with you. I think that he's sort of that. I think Draymond Green is where the NBA has already started going, and the future of the NBA is going to go at the quote unquote four position, the power forward, I guess. I think Draymond Green is kind of, like I said, the way the NBA is going. But I agree
because
with you. He is a five-tool player. He can do it all. Like I said, you have to run your offense for Kevin Love, but you can run your offense through Draymond Green, and I think we'll start seeing a lot more of those. But yeah, definitely not a better outlet passer.
Nobody is. Nobody's a better outlet passer.
I heard somebody talking the other day. I don't know. Somebody was talking and said the Browns they should take a look at Kevin Love.
He's the best. He's the best quarterback in Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even a question. All right, so that's a pretty good one. That gives us a little split. You're saying it's 2-2 going into the center position. I'm saying it's 3-1 in favor of the Warriors going into the center position. But here's another one I don't think we're going to get a lot of argument on. Tristan Thompson is just a superior player to Zaza Pachulia. I don't think...
unless Zaza is guarding LeBron and LeBron's playing well.
Exactly, and then he sticks his foot in. Right.
Yeah, I think absolutely Tristan Thompson in this matchup.
I read an article today. Zach Lowe had a piece, and it said, in so many words, it said that Tristan Thompson is the most demoralizing player in basketball. That everything he does, when it comes to offensive rebounds, when it comes to blocking shots, when it comes to hustle plays, everything that Tristan Thompson does demoralizes the other team. And I thought that was so well put. I mean, Zach Lowe is an amazing writer. If you're not reading him, you should be. But I thought that was such a very specific comment, because Tristan Thompson does what a coach that you and I both played for is called the little things. Coach Owens was always telling us about doing the little things, and I think Tristan Thompson is the ultimate doing the little things player. And you got to have a guy like that, a guy who just gets rebounds, who doesn't care how much he scores. And I just think that's what Tristan Thompson is.
For sure, I think he definitely is. He does the things that aren't going to show up on the scoreboard. He does the things. Sorry, I'm looking at his stats from the playoffs. Here's what really stands off the board to me.
All right.
He's only averaging 9.3 rebounds, which for a 5
is not that many.
It's outstanding, but he's averaging 4.2 offensive rebounds per game, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's what he does. He does. Nobody's saying that the MVP is the guy who pulls the most offensive rebounds a game.
But boy,
because nobody really cares. But the more you watch basketball, the more you know that, hey, we need that guy who's going to pull those offensive rebounds. And I think every team needs a Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, and that kind of creation, offensive rebounds, whether it leads to putbacks, to free throws, to whatever, offensive rebounds are just such a huge thing that jump off the page when you look at it. Is it averaging 4 offensive rebounds? That's 4 extra possessions per game. And in an NBA Finals, every possession matters.
Right.
So that's pretty good. I mean, I think you're at 3-2 in favor of the Cavs, and I'm at 3-2 in favor of the Warriors, position by position. Which bench do you prefer? Do you prefer Kyle Korver, Iman Shumpert, Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson, and Darren Williams, or do you prefer Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Ian Clark, David West, and JaVale McGee?
I think LeBron is one of the best GMs in the league.
Okay.
And he has built a really, I guess, a bench that fits really well with the Cavs.
And particularly with him. I think he's built a bench that fits his skill set.
And yeah, Iguodala is still he's great at what he does. The Warriors bench is not by any means bad. JaVale McGee is one of the funniest players in the league, but he's also really good at what he does.
He can block shots, he can protect the rim, he can dunk.
Right. And I think both teams really have a lot of, I guess, veteran leadership. Not that either of the starters really, need that veteran player to come in like they're a younger team. But I think LeBron's done really well at building his bench, and I think the Cavs have a better bench.
Cavs have a better bench. I'll probably go the other way. I'll probably say Golden State has a better bench. I love Iguodala. Iguodala I don't really count him to say he's a bench player, because when it comes to the end of the game, the lineup's going to be Steph, Clay, Durant, Draymond, and Iguodala. He's going to close out games, and that's going to be that. But if you're talking in terms of bench versus bench, I like Iguodala, and the guy I really, really like and have liked even more through these playoffs is David West. David West is a great player in Indiana, great player in New Orleans, had a pretty good year last year in San Antonio, but I feel like he's really found something in Golden State in the fact that he is a great defensive player. He's a guy who rebounds, and he can protect the rim, but on offense, he's a hell of a passer. And I think that's what I like about David West the best is David West is just another dude who comes in, keeps the ball moving, and can knock down shots. And I forgot to say this, I'm a huge Sean Livingston fan, have been for years and years and years. So I really like his ability to play defense against LeBron. So for me, I think those guys sort of stand out as the big important players.
I can see you mentioned West's defense, and that's definitely going to be a huge factor. I mean, and Andre Iguodala, who I agree with you, is, I guess, a bench player. but
I guess.
really he's the sixth starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the sixth
Well,
starter.
he's really the fifth starter,
but,
I think. I think he's more of a starter than Zaza.
Than Zaza.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's going to be huge in this game because one person, I don't care if it's Kawhi, who probably is the best, I guess,
two-way player in the
guard
league.
Or the best defender in the league, one of, if not the best defender in the league. Kawhi is not going to guard LeBron, especially for a whole game, much less for a 7-game series. And I think that is a big factor for the Warriors is having, I think you talked about earlier, having Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, David West, I guess Kevin Durant, Draymond, all that's a solid 5 right there that can guard LeBron, for minutes at a time.
And I think if there's one thing that the Boston series showed with LeBron is that he can be worn down a little bit. Game 3, whether you believe the stomach bug, whether you believe whatever, he got worn down a little bit. And if you have 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys on the roster that you can throw at him, I think that you can start to chip into his effectiveness. And I think that that's going to be something the Warriors really play into, is really trying to wear out LeBron. And maybe not play bully ball, maybe not try to back him down in the post. I mean, that's crazy. But run him through screens and make him work on defense and just really get into LeBron's minutes, make him play big minutes so that if the series goes later, he doesn't have the legs that he had. And I think that's a big help from the Golden State bench.
And I was looking earlier at I was curious as to Steph, and I think Steph has played 2 games over 40 minutes this year. I think Kevin Durant played something like, I think maybe 3. My computer just died, of course. And then I was looking at LeBron, and he's played, you hear about the Cavs resting everybody, but LeBron's played 19 games over 40 minutes this year. And I think that's another big factor. With him losing his, like we were talking about, he's not as athletic as he used to be. I also don't think he's 32 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think he can go as many 40-minute games as he used to.
I'm looking at that right now. That's a good point, and I'm going to bring the numbers to you since you don't have them. Durant's highest minutes played in the playoffs was game 3 of the Utah series. He played 38 minutes and 59 seconds, which is his highest by far. He's got 2 other 38-minute games. That one essentially is a 39-minute game. Steph Curry his highest is 39-11 in the game 1 of the Golden State San Antonio series. So neither one of them have a 40-minute game in the playoffs. And LeBron has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 just in the playoffs. So a lot of difference in terms of star power playing minutes. That's a very good point. All right, let's go to the easy question. I mean, I don't know if it's easy. I think it's kind of easy. But if you drafted these teams, what's your pick order? First pick, you take LeBron. Second pick, you take Durant. Who do you take third?
Well, I've got LeBron and Kevin Durant. So now we're let me just ask: are we assuming we're building a team?
Yeah. This is
the best player?
This is
okay.
You're drafting your team out of these 25 players or whatever. Who's your
okay? Well.
After LeBron and Durant, who's your third pick?
I'm having trouble here. I want to say, I guess I'm gonna go. Oh my gosh, this is tough. I think I'll go. I'll take Klay Thompson here, just because I already have, I guess, 2. LeBron can play anywhere on the floor.
Whoa.
But I know.
Whoa! I did not expect you to take Klay Thompson.
My team's gonna be weird.
So you have. So you took LeBron at pick 1. I took Durant at pick 2. You're taking Klay Thompson.
Oh, okay. No. Time out. See, I thought I picked LeBron and Kevin
Durant.
No,
you don't get LeBron.
I thought I was stacking my team.
No, you.
Okay.
You have LeBron. I have Durant. Who's your third? Does that change your third pick from Klay Thompson?
Well, this changes everything. Then.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Steph then.
Okay, you're taking Steph. I guess I'll take Kyrie.
I guess Draymond here?
Oh, man, you just got the better team. Your team's going to win. I'll take Klay Thompson.
Well, nobody's going to beat my team of LeBron Kevin Durant. So
Well, it's not. Your team does not have LeBron and Kevin Durant on it. My team's got Kevin Durant on it.
well, I mean, this is my third team that has LeBron.
Oh,
and Kevin
okay,
Durant.
okay, and then also Klay Thompson.
You took who did you take just now?
I took Klay Thompson. So I have
okay.
I have Kyrie, Klay Thompson, and Durant. You have LeBron, Steph, and Draymond.
And I'll take Tristan Thompson.
Wait, no, you'll take Kevin Love, right? You're gonna take Tristan Thompson over Kevin Love? Oh, because you already have Draymond.
I have Draymond.
All right, I'll take Kevin Love then.
And then for my fifth, this is where the drop off kind of comes, I think.
I know who I'll take. I know who I'm going to take.
This is tough. Can I take JaVale McGee just to get on Shaqtin' a fool?
Yes. You took JaVale McGee.
Okay.
All right, and my last pick would be Iguodala.
Solid pick. Yeah.
But I think that's a pretty good indicator of my next question. Who has the bigger three? The better big three? Would you rather have LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love, or would you rather have Steph, KD, and Draymond? Klay Thompson? I don't know.
That's the thing is who's the third of the Warriors?
Yeah, I would probably say Draymond. I mean,
I would agree with you that
okay.
Draymond is. And I am a Warriors hater, but I think they have a better big three. But like we've said 100 times this podcast, LeBron is the best player.
Right, he's the big
in the
one.
series in the world. But then the next three, Kevin Durant's probably the second best player in the league right now. Steph Curry's probably top, if not top 5, easily, definitely top 10. Like I don't think anybody's gonna argue top 10. And then,
Draymond probably in top 15.
A top 25 player.
I think he's probably a top 15 player in the league, but
or top.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that. Do you care to talk about coaches at all? Do you care to talk about Tyronn Lue and Mike Brown? I don't think either of these guys are very good coaches. I just don't. I don't like their lineups.
I was gonna say the same thing. I don't really think that you have to be a good coach the Warriors or the Cavs.
Yeah.
And I don't think either guy. There's not a Pop in the split series. There's not a Brad Stevens.
Yeah, I'll take Brad Stevens over both these guys in a minute.
Yes, easily.
Yeah,
I don't think the coaches are really going to be a factor.
Steve Kerr's been ruled out of Game 1. Does his not being on the bench make a difference for you? Steve Kerr, kind of a Zen master, sort of played for Pop, played for Phil Jackson. Takes after a little bit more like Phil Jackson. He's a little bit more of a mediator and a mental guy. Do you think him not being on the bench makes a big difference?
I don't think so. Not in Game 1. I think they're playing in Golden State. Golden State's had a little more rest. I think that honestly, I think emotionally not emotionally. I don't really know how to say it, but I think that game that Cleveland lost, I think Cleveland was expecting to sweep the playoffs or sweep the Eastern Conference like the Warriors swept the West. I think that took a little bit out of the Cavs. And I think it's going to be it's going to kind of be a game where they are going to get smacked around. Then they'll regain their focus. But I think Game 1, I don't really know that there is a difference maker, and it's certainly not Steve Kerr if there is.
Okay, I think Steve Kerr, his advantage is just like I said, being a mental cornerstone for the Warriors. If somebody's having a bad shooting night or something, Steve Kerr kind of sits them down, talks them through it, and I think that's something that Mike Brown probably doesn't do. I think if the series goes long, Steve Kerr will make a difference if he's on the bench, because I think he is a better coach than Ty Lue, and I think he's a much better coach than Mike Brown, who I don't think is a very good coach at all.
No, I agree with you 100%. If it comes to a 6 or 7 game series, then yeah, Steve Kerr is going to be a difference maker. But in Game 1, I don't think so. And also, nope, never mind. Totally forgot my second point.
Good point. Who's your biggest X factor in this series?
To me, we've already talked about it, but I think a lot depends on. Okay, I know I keep talking about stuff that I'm sure we're going to talk about in the future, but I think that the Warriors are going to win this series.
Okay.
Either way, no matter no matter what my X factor does, but I think that Kevin Love can make this series a lot more competitive.
Okay.
As opposed to just the Warriors coming out maybe losing a game, and it just kind of being like you've said before, a competitive sweep or even
a gentleman's sweep,
a non-competitive not sweep, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I think Kevin Love, if he comes in hot, and it's a lot tougher of a matchup than the Celtics was for him, but if he comes in hot and plays the 14 rebound, 22 point.
Yeah, what he's been playing, 22 points per game, 12 rebounds per game. That's a pretty big difference maker when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah. I think if he comes in and plays that kind of ball, the ball he's been playing, then it I'm not saying the Cavs will win the series, but I think it'll be a lot more competitive of a series.
Yeah. My biggest X factor is also a Cavalier. It's Tristan Thompson for me. I think that so much of a tight series hinges on hustle plays, hinges on things like offensive rebounds and drawing charges and just the little things that Tristan Thompson brings to the game. So he's my big X factor for the game or for the series because I don't think there's a guy on Golden State roster who can match his intensity. And I don't mean like being vocal and being a leader. I just mean that Tristan Thompson consistently makes, and this is something I really picked up on watching him play Boston, Tristan Thompson makes big hustle plays. You need a board, he gets a board. You need a charge, he takes a charge. And I think that if Tristan Thompson gets into a series and averages double-doubles and has those 4 and 5 offensive rebounds, I think we're in for a very long series. And I definitely think that he has to play well for Cleveland to win. So he's my X factor. So we'll go on to the next one. We have such a weird connection between us, and we kind of talk over each other sometimes. But do you think Cleveland's defense is fixed, or is the East just bad?
I've heard a lot of talk, and everybody's talked all year. The East is bad. The East is a lot weaker. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you that the East is just as competitive as the West, because the West has probably 3 of the top 5. Well, 3 of the top 4 teams in the league.
Uh-huh.
But I think that Boston, especially in the Boston series, I think Boston is also a top 5 or 6 team in the league. And
you're not being a homer at all? You're not being a Celtics homer at all?
Well, I didn't say Boston was the best team in the league.
Okay, that would be being a homer. I just had to see where the line was.
No, but and I mean the Cavs just, other than the game we won and game 4 was competitive-ish. The Cavs essentially blew out the Celtics. I mean, beat us by 50 points,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a combination of Isaiah was hurt, LeBron's the best player in the world, but also I think that their defense was meshing really well in that series. I think their defense looked a lot better than it has. And I think if once again, it all depends on what Cleveland team shows up, what kind of weird practice Teron Lue ran. Adam sitting in the hot tub and talked about it like he did the friggin' Celtics series. Or if he, I swear that's what he did. They didn't touch each other in practice. They were just running shooting drills or something for like 2 weeks. But yeah, I don't know what he's doing in practice. But anyways, I think that their defense has played a lot better throughout the playoffs and up to the Celtics series where they really looked their best. And I don't know if that is. It's probably more of a combination of the East is bad and their defense is fixed, if you ask me.
Okay, so I'm gonna say their defense is bad, and the East is bad. I think that the Celtics series is more of a result of there's a statistical variance when it comes to being a good 3-point shooting team, and we saw this with Houston, and we saw this with Boston, 2 teams that jacked up a historic amount of 3-pointers in games. that when you miss three-pointers, you get beat badly. And I think that's probably what the first two games of the Eastern Conference Finals were. Just sort of variance. You shoot very poorly, you're going to get beat by 40. And usually you don't get beat by 40. Usually you get beat by 25. But the Celtics did not shoot well in those first two games. I wasn't particularly impressed with their defense, Cleveland's defense in any series. So I still think it's busted, and I think that they probably I'm going to say there's going to be two games in which that gets exposed, and the Warriors win by 20 plus, which I know is a big deal, but I think that there'll be two games that aren't competitive because the Cavaliers' defense just can't keep up.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. The Warriors aren't going to shoot 18%, which at one point Boston was shooting, I think, in a half. They shot 18% from the floor.
That sounds right.
But also, like you said, not a sweep. A team that lives and dies by three that's shooting 18% should get beat by 20 and not 50. And I think that a lot. That was, like I said, that was more of a mix. LeBron's the best player in the game. The Celtics were not great. I will never say the Celtics were bad, but the Celtics were not great.
Those words will not cross your lips.
No, and then Cleveland's defense has played better. I'm not saying it's the best defense in the league, but I think they've played better than they've played in the past. I think this is playoffs.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on before we go to predictions? Anything that jumps off the page at you that you really think is going to make a difference in these finals?
No, but I had a question that I thought would be interesting. The Warriors bring in Kevin Durant. And he, like we talked about, he has been the man. And earlier, I can't remember who you had on the show, but you guys were talking that if Kevin Durant is the man, he stays in Golden State. And if he's not, then you guys think somebody had mentioned that they think he'll leave.
That was when Justin.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And well, just my question was, if Kevin Durant's not going to be the man, then who has to be the man for? I mean, is it obviously? I guess the obvious answer is Steph. Who has to step up to I guess, for the Warriors?
Well, I think that's a good question because I think the real answer is if Kevin Durant's not the man, the Warriors probably don't win this series because they don't have the depth that they had last year. Losing Bogut, losing Barnes, adding Durant. Durant has to play at a high level. He has to sort of be the best player on Golden State. Probably not the best player in the series. He doesn't have to play LeBron to a draw. That's not what I'm going to say. But he has to do the things that he does very well. He has to get 7 or 8 rebounds. He has to block 2 or 3 shots. He has to get to his spot and score effectively. And if those things don't happen, I think you start to create an open door situation for the best player in the game because you never want to leave the door open for LeBron because of how tremendous he's been. And I think that if Durant doesn't play up to his potential, it's not about who's going to be the guy who gets it done for Golden State. I think it's going to be watching Cleveland hoist back-to-back Larry O'Brien trophies.
Yep, and I actually agree with you. I guess I kind of worded triggered, or I don't know.
Was it a trick question?
The question. Yeah, loaded the question. It was my question, but I agree with you because I think we've seen, and we have seen, have to show up for the Warriors in last year's finals. And LeBron, and like I said, LeBron's not playing anywhere near as well as he is this year. And Kevin Durant obviously wasn't there. He was still on the Thunder. And we know history how that went. So I think so too. I was just curious if you thought
I think
somebody else could play at that level.
No, I think it's probably impossible to overcome. I think your best player has to play a good series for you to win against a team with Tim Duncan, a team with Larry Bird, a team with Magic Johnson, a team with Michael Jordan, a team with Bill Russell. If you don't have one of the truly elite guys in the history of the league, then you have to play your best to knock that team out. And I think while Golden State is probably the favorite in this series, a lot of it falls down to they still have to play their best ball. They can't go out there and mess around because if they do, you're leaving the door open for the person that I probably believe is the second best player behind Jordan to play at this exact moment in time. I think he's probably second. And if you don't play your best ball, you leave the door open for him.
And I agree with you.
All right, let's get to the big deal. Game 1 is tonight. For listeners, it's not for tonight for us as we record, but Game 1 is tonight. Who takes a Game 1?
Game 1, I think, like I've already kind of mentioned it, I think the Warriors win by 10 to 15 points.
Okay.
And not even that close of a game. I think LeBron will have a decent game to keep it close in quotations, but I think the Warriors win this one pretty handily and kind of gets the Cavs, I guess, back in the right mindset for a more competitive series.
All right. I'll agree with you. I think Golden State takes Game 1. I think this one's probably going to be a little close, though. I think there's going to be a little bit of rust for both teams. I think it might be a low-scoring start, and then it kind of goes into the second half close before Golden State kind of pushes it out just because they have more offensive weapons and somebody gets going. So I'll say a 7-point game is where it ends up in Game 1. All right, what's your
7-point close game?
A 7-point close game that stays close through, maybe they hit a 3 up 4 with a minute to go and sort of push it out and seal it. But I think for 47 of the 48 minutes, I think this is Game 1 is close. And what about your prediction for the series?
Oh, this is hard for me because I don't like the Warriors.
You're just a Warriors hater
at all. But I am. I'm one of the biggest Warriors haters you'll meet.
Which surprises me because you've been a Celtics fan for a long time, and LeBron has stood between the Celtics and glory quite a few times in his career.
He had, and I don't like LeBron either. But to me, LeBron, I can respect LeBron, I guess. And I don't know, the Warriors. I could go 45 more minutes about this, but the Warriors, I guess, haven't earned that respect yet.
Okay. Despite going 73-9 and winning the title 2 years ago, and all the accolades that they've accumulated in the past 3 years.
Listen, what team hasn't gone 73-9?
Every other team.
That's my question. So I'll let you ponder that for a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll tell you that I think that the Warriors win 4-2. And the 2 that the Cavs take, I think, will be I don't know. I think maybe the Cavs win 1 by, like we talked about, a close 7 or 8 point game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Cavs win 1 by maybe a close, really close game. 48-minute close game. But then I think that the Warriors will probably have a couple of close games, but then I think there's going to be 2. Like I said, I think Game 1, and then probably when they go back to Golden State in Game, I guess, 5, will be or Game 5 blowout games. Yeah, okay. I think those 2 will be kind of not. I don't want to say blowout games because I don't think LeBron will ever get blown out, but games that are close on the scoreboard, I guess, but they're not close in real life.
All right, I'm going to give you game by game how I think it's going to go. That way all the listeners can accurately show me the number of ways that I was wrong after this prediction doesn't come to fruition. I'm going to say Game 1 is close. Golden State wins. I'm going to say Game 2 is close. Cleveland wins. So it goes back to Cleveland 1-1. Golden State wins both games in Cleveland. So they're up 3-1. Cleveland wins Game 5, 3-2. Golden State wins Game 6 in Cleveland to clinch the series. Warriors in 6 is my prediction.
Okay, so we both have Warriors in 6.
Yep. So that was not interesting at all. There's no conflict.
Yeah, so I think that should we go ahead and hand the Warriors the trophy? It's been said on First Row and One Analytics at Warriors in 6.
I think, if anything, we should probably just go ahead and hand the Cavaliers the trophy because every person in the basketball sphere is saying the Warriors win in 5 to 6 games. So I think if there's anything that locks in Cleveland winning the title, it's that.
Yeah. Count LeBron out and he'll show you.
Exactly. Every time you say LeBron got his feelings hurt, then that's when he comes back and shows you what's up.
That's right.
All right. Well, that is all for the finals preview show. I have a final. If you're listening to this on Thursday, I have an article going up sort of recapping a little bit of what we've talked about, going a little more in depth with some numbers. But it's my finals preview article. It's and1analytics.blogspot.com. Make sure and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/and1analytics, twitter.com/and1analytics, and listen to us on YouTube or on Soundcloud. Chaz, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun to be here. Anytime you want me to come back and rant for a 2-hour special about why I hate the Warriors,
all right,
you know how to get a hold
I'll
of
give
me,
you 45 minutes in the summer to tell me why you hate the Warriors.
Okay, I will be well prepared.
All right, that's your off-season thing. But until then, I am Alex West for And1 Analytics. We'll see you after Game 1.